Hey everyone, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I am Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
Doug just played through Savant Ascent REMIX, which you sent me a trailer, and that's all I know
Yeah.
of this. And it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a hard. Well, the reason I sent you a trailer, I don't usually make you like you have got to watch this game. The reason I sent you this trailer was just like this game is just watch the video version of this. If you're listening to an audio version of this, it's just going to be a hard game to explain verbally without you just taking a look at it. It's really funny because it's been kind of on my list for a while. What it is, it's a shoot 'em up that is not that it's a shmup basically. But it doesn't use like standard shmup mechanics where like you're like a ship at the bottom of the screen and shooting a bunch of dodging bullets. It kind of takes like sort of a pseudo character action game character that you're playing as, and then you're moving around the screen and shooting stuff in all like 360 directions. It's really, really cool. And the thing that got me kind of interested in it is that this is
Castlevania
the
aesthetic though too. Like when you say like
yes.
character action, you mean 2D character action still.
Yes, 2D character action. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, it's like it's kind of Castlevania-y. The reason I actually the reason I bought it recently was I didn't realize it was from the Owlboy team. So Owlboy
Oh,
was like a really it was a game that had been kind of like in like a mythic game for a long time. It's one of those games just kind of took a long time to come out. It came out, it was like pretty good, but it had really good pixel art. And one of the main pixel artists on that game also worked on this game, Savant Ascent Remix. And I was just like looking at because I think I mean I've seen trailers for it before. I didn't quite understand it, but I was like it was probably one of the only games I read the description. I was like, oh, you know, that actually sounds really cool. So what it is, it's a shmup. So you're going to be doing a lot of shooting, a lot of dodging bullets. But what it is like you're on two separate platforms that you hop between in order to dodge bullets. So like if you're on one platform, bullets or enemies will start coming there, so you need to dodge the next one. You can double jump between platforms. But the thing is, it's not like a standard platformer where you would say like you jump and kind of have to line your jump up to the next platform. It's literally just like a button press. So if you press one button to the left, like you're kind of like in the left lane, sort of left lane platform.
okay.
If you push button to the right, you're on the right lane platform. And if you jump, instead of just like jumping in space, it jumps you over to the next platform. So you can either go like horizontally to the next platform or do sort of like a vertical jump over the next platform. So it was a really kind of cool game to learn because it just doesn't work like most other games with that sort of like lane mechanic as you're hopping between. It is both like the thing that makes it the most interesting and probably the most frustrating for the game because if you think about sort of like standard shmups and shoot 'em up sort of thing, like if bullets are coming towards you, you just gotta like kind of slide and move out of the way.
Yeah.
But because you can only be like an A or B, and when you dodge and like dodge the next one, what it doesn't give you like invincibility frames. So like you're as you're going across are vulnerable the entire time. So sometimes you might misjudge stuff because it's hard to tell sometimes is the bullet coming like into this lane? Is it coming into that one? Is it
Yep.
coming lower? Is it coming higher? So it's this sort of like just the mechanics of dodging was like this sort of like unique way of doing it. Which it's like hard like even after playing the game, the game's pretty short, which I like because it is like the standard shmup length. It's like to beat the game, it probably takes like a half hour, probably even
Yep.
less, and like really beat it. I think I spent like a total of 2 hours to do both the remix and the standard version. Um, it's like it is just like a unique mechanic, but like at the end of it, I just like wasn't sure if I like really enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy that mechanic specifically. I was like, this is like it's like they're going for something like you just don't see a lot of with shmups. Like they just the basic mechanics are going to be the same. Like doesn't matter
Yeah.
which one it is. Like
Yep.
your magical girl, your spaceship, you're basically moving left or right or down to up, and like that's kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of like unique stuff that as I've been playing a lot of shmups recently, kind of learning how it makes them unique, but just like not like a whole ground up base mechanic interesting thing. The shooting is like really fun. So like as you're dodging between platforms, you're using the right stick and sort of like aiming in different directions. Um, and as you're shooting up, you're building meter, and then when you fire off your meter, it's like a big shotgun blast. So a lot of the
Okay.
thing is like figuring out, okay, how many times can I like ping a guy with a bullet versus like it's like kind of save up to get like this massive
Yep.
shotgun blast. And with these sort of games, like it's really important to have good feedback, and like that shotgun blast feels so good. And like as like the game goes on, you can get like build up more and more and more. So like you're at the end, like you're kind of like you're shooting ping, 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 ping. You're saving up, and then doing like 3 or 4 shotgun blasts like at the same time. It's just really cool because it's like it basically works like a one shot kill, but it's a one shot kill shotgun, so you can like basically clear a screen. So it's
Yep.
this really awesome feeling of just like your power kind of going up and down as you're playing the game. That felt like really satisfying moment to moment, which I really, really enjoyed.
Do you get upgrades with that, or is it just you've basically got your one shot and then your shotgun blast? Do you have other weapons? Because I mean, a lot of it is picking up weapons, changing things in and out, or is it just those two for the whole way?
It's just those two weapons, but I think that's kind of fun. Is that in the basic version, every single level you're getting, and like these levels are pretty short, so like every 2 minutes you're getting a new ability, and you think you end up with like 5 or 6 different abilities at the end.
Okay.
It's like really cool because like it makes every level feel like a little bit unique because like, oh, I didn't have this ability in the first level and now I have in this one, and it's still the
Yep.
same mechanics like jumping between platforms, but you get all these cool new abilities and it just like adds more fun mechanics to it. So like by the end it just feels like, oh, this game already started kind of fun and now it's like way more fun with all these cool mechanics. The game is also difficulty wise like it's not super hard like a standard shmup, but like the final boss was so difficult. Like I was having like a lot of fun, like, woo, I got it, I can do it. And then like the like final
Nope.
boss, like this brick wall all of a sudden. And then it's like, no, you really gotta learn these mechanics. But it's really fun doing that. I think the thing that's really cool about the game, and not really cool about the game, but I'll get there in a sec, is that there is one mechanic in the base game where what it allows you to do is like absorb enemies, and then when you absorb enemies, you get like one of their special abilities, and you can fire that off as like a special ability, kind of like one
Okay.
hit kill mega blast thing. The thing that's really funny is that the remix, and I think the remix is really really cool because it's essentially the exact same game, and they cut out a bunch of so like a remix to me is like, oh, we're gonna add a bunch of new stuff.
Yep. Yep.
And what they had done instead was actually removed some of the major mechanics from the game, and then major base shot a lot stronger. It kind of goes with the multiplayer player, but the thing that's like really interesting because they cut down on the mechanics, it actually makes it a much more fun game, and it feels like they had to make some like hard sort of like, hey, we have this ability in the game, is it useful enough that we need to keep it? And like in the base game, that sort of absorb enemies mechanic, major blast thing, like that's the mechanic they remove, and it's a huge part of the game. So when you
Hmm.
go into the remix thing, where it just kind of like it just messes kind of with like your gun base damage, it just ended up making it like way 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 more fun. So I just like be so curious to hear from the developers of like how do they feel cutting these major mechanics to
Hmm.
inadvertently make a much much better game that's like a lot more fun to play.
So essentially, you simplify it,
Mhm.
and you've got a much stronger product. You take out kind of
Yes.
like the okay, these mechanics are cool, unique, and are adjusting how you're thinking, but limiting that thinking down, pushing that thinking down, and just making it a much more simple brain process
Yeah.
actually increases the fun of it.
Yeah, and like the remix adds like some like new like some slightly new enemy types and slightly new this, but it's like it's just so cool that they were willing to release that because it just feels like they were messing around and like, hey, if we do this, this might actually be a more fun game, and it like totally is. So that's like that Savant because I think that this game actually came out several years ago, and the
I was
remix is
gonna
kind of
say,
like the newer version. Yeah.
so original version. So this is like the two together, but there was an original version of this. Like, I mean, obviously, I
Yes.
assumed with remix, but I'd never heard of the original version of this either. So,
Yeah, like the original version, I was like looking like when it came out like 6 years ago or something like that. So,
oh geez,
yeah, and the Savant like remix, I was like, it was actually like a really the thing that's kind of surprising. It's like a really really good looking game. It's like a really solid game that I just like nobody I heard nobody talk about, which is kind of strange.
I feel like that. I feel like that happens so much with shmups and shmup adjacent things, where it's
Yes,
just like
yeah,
there's such a small audience for it that unless you're like looking at like one or two very specific people,
yeah.
there's so many out there. There's so many things that I think it's one of those where it's kind of hard to dig through and find like, okay, what are the ones that really should stand out? Just because it is, there's a ton of them.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny on that note. Like for the Steam sale that came out, I think I ended up buying like 7 different shmups. Kind of just I'm not like necessarily doing a research, but like I'm just like really curious about the genre because of all like it's just such a fun genre that I'm like learning. I keep like playing more and more shmups. Like I think I really really like this genre like a lot, and that's kind of what it's like. Went full head in. I bought this, and I bought a bunch of cave shooters, like cave shooters, which we'll maybe we'll talk about a little later. Like I just never, I played those. I played like a little bit of them, but they're just like so. just seeing like a wall of bullets, like seeing a guy like in a YouTube video do like a wall of bullets, you're like, that doesn't even look fun. But like as you
Yeah,
kind of get into the genre and say somewhere this one, it's like, actually, you know what? It's like it's kind of like getting really good at Guitar Hero, where like hardened expert on Guitar Hero looks insane when you first start playing. You're like, I'll never get there. And
and
then
then
you
you're
kind
like,
of
this is
start
the greatest game that's ever been made.
yeah, and you kind of start getting there, and then like once you can be good at Guitar Hero, it's like, wait, I can actually be good at other rhythm games, and that's what it kind of feels like with Shmups, and this is just kind of
That's
like
cool.
part of that library of Shmups. But it was doing something cool, kind of put itself out there, and I think it just came out on Switch. I play this on Steam Deck. Looks incredible on the OLED. Holy crap! Some of those 2D games look so good on that. But yeah, it's a really really fun game. It's only like I think like a total time I spent on it was like 2 hours, and I was doing like both the main, the remix, and then doing some of the survival mode stuff as well. But it's a cool game. Yeah.
2 hours is a solid length for a game like this, I feel like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we are Workforce Gaming. Subscribe to our channel, leave a comment below. There's a link to support us and coffee as well. We'll see you later.
Bye.